So Shanks is actually fighting HARALD in this chapter. Shanks and Gaban teaming up. Shanks finally fighting again. It's been a while, and it's always like an event when he actually fights. Now, granted, it's not like current day Shanks. We're still in the Flashback and Elbaf, so this is 14 years ago Shanks. But he's still pretty powerful. I mean, he was strong enough to become a Godblade for Emu, and he almost became a Holy Knight before he dipped out of there before it was too late. But we'll get into the fight itself because it's happening at the end of the chapter, and there's a lot more that we have to talk about first. So speaking of Shanks, at the beginning of this chapter, he's talking to Scopper while they're at Elbaf, and he's finding out that Ace is Roger's son. Once he hears that, he's like, oh, so basically I have a little brother out there. And we talked about this a few times already, but in a way, I guess they are brothers because, you know, Ace is the biological son of Roger and Shanks is like the adopted son of Roger. And then I also thought about it more, and it's like, I guess then Luffy is kind of like Shanks's brother too, because while Luffy is not like biologically Ace's brother, they're adopted brothers. Can you like adopt someone as your own brother? I mean, I guess they did in a way. I don't know. I mean, if you want to go further, then like Buggy is Shanks's brother and Luffy's brother too. I don't know. It's just something fun to think about. But then going further, Shanks is like, you know, who knows? With Captain Roger's blood flowing through him, the kid might just become the pirate king of this new era. And Scopper's like, you know, the title's not hereditary, right? Besides, most burdened with high expectations fail to reach the top, and obviously that's true. Ace friggin' died, and he died for nothing. But then I was also thinking, like, Oda has to put this here for some reason. Other than just shoehorning Ace into another post-time skip arc, maybe Shanks finding this out is the reason why he went to Fuchsia Village in the beginning of the series. Because maybe he heard some way that Ace was there, because he did grow up there with Luffy. That's how they became brothers, but he got there too late because Ace had already left. And Shanks obviously wound up stealing the Nika fruit, and he had the Nika fruit with him at Fuchsia Village, which Luffy accidentally ate. You know, we all know how the series started. So maybe he went there for Ace because he wanted to give him the Nika fruit because he wanted Roger's son to become, you know, the Messiah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Oda is trying to plan here. And I wouldn't be mad at it. It would tie everything together and it would make everything make sense. Oh, and speaking of everything making sense now, going further into this conversation that they're having, Shanks reveals that the tattoo that he received is the Shallow Sea Covenant, which, you know, makes you like a Godblade. And when they're at Mary Joie, or they're within Emu's radius, they can't disobey Emu's orders. And also, Shanks is stating here that he is aware of Emu's existence. I mean, he doesn't say Emu, he just refers to him as the Great One, but he knows that there's somebody on the empty throne. And obviously, he knows that they're dealing out all these powers and stuff. He also reveals that he talked to HARALD after the sequence that we saw a couple chapters ago, where Shanks was like undercover, where he like cleared everything up, essentially. But he didn't, like, I guess, fully explain to HARALD what the next level of the Covenant was, like the Deep Sea Covenant, like once you become a Holy Knight, which we saw happen to HARALD in the previous chapter. Because now it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you'll always be susceptible to Emu's control, as we see in this chapter. And this goes back to what I was saying with everything coming full circle with Shanks going to Fuchsia Village. Not only is it possible that he was going there to find Ace to give him the Nika fruit, but him also going there and saving Luffy from the Sea King and giving up his arm in exchange for that, well, it's like a great way to say that, oh, Shanks did it willingly so that he wasn't bound by the Shallow Sea Covenant anymore. Because, you know, otherwise that sequence just doesn't make sense, because Shanks is like a Yonko in strength at that point in the story, and he could just no diff the Sea King. Hey, also guys, can we try to get 3,000 likes on this video? Just grab your phone, hit that like button. It'll really help me. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Now, speaking of all of the Emu control stuff, we're coming back to that in this chapter, and we're seeing where the flashback started, where HARALD and Loki are going into the castle and seeing the guards stab HARALD, and it's because he's telling them to do it. He realizes that he's being taken control of by Emu because he's going against their orders of making like an army for Emu out of the giants, which goes against everything that HARALD wanted for Elbaf. However, now that he has the Deep Sea Covenant and he is a Holy Knight, he has regeneration the same way that the rest of them have. So all of the guards stabbing him don't matter. And on top of that, he is losing more and more control by the second. And as Loki's in there, they like immediately clash, and Loki realizes that HARALD is much stronger than he normally is, you know, because of the Holy Knight buff. And Loki and Jarl like hold down HARALD, and he starts explaining to them like, hey, you know, essentially I made a deal with the devil. I thought I was helping Elbaf by becoming a Holy Knight, which means that they would gain entry into the world government, but I was tricked. All Emu wanted was to just use me to make an army for them. And now I'm completely subservient to Emu, so you guys are gonna have to not only kill me, but in order to do that, Loki, you're gonna also have to eat the legendary devil fruit of Elbaf in order to do that. Now also, we don't know what the devil fruit is, of course. Maybe we'll find out in the next chapter. I really hope so. But then he also says, you know, after you do kill me, you're gonna have to take the throne and then let Elbaf know what a disgrace of a king I was, and then elevate yourself as a hero. The only thing that matters is securing Elbaf's future, don't you see? And then Loki's like, you'd go that far? So I guess this explains quite a few things. It explains that Loki knew the truth and that he just chose not to tell everyone. Like, he chose to be imprisoned rather than telling the truth about what happened with Harold because he loves his father and he didn't want him to have a disgraced legacy. So props to Loki. And the same thing goes for Jarl, possibly. Because after this, Emu just takes full control of Harold, and now he's just, like, evil. He's still like Harold, but he's just like an evil version of himself. He's not Dami Reversied. And we actually have seen this before with Gunko. Gunko is implied to be just like a nice, normal person, I guess, but they're being, like, evil personality controlled by Emu. Yeah, this is just a thing that Emu could do. And it also makes you wonder, like, how many other Holy Knights have this going on with them? Like, are some of the Holy Knights just, like, regular good people, but they're being controlled by Emu? Like, I also wouldn't be surprised if this is, like, going on with Shamrock. Like, it's revealed that just Shamrock is, like, a good guy, maybe. But anyway, back to Jarl. He gets stabbed in the head by Harold here. And this goes into him possibly having brain damage or amnesia as to why he isn't able to tell everyone what had happened that day. Well, I'm thinking maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's okay, because after this, Shanks and Scopper come in. And they're like, Jarl, what happened to you? He's like, don't worry, my helmet saved me. Hilarious. But he seems pretty cognizant here, so I guess he's going along with Loki as well, and he's just choosing not to tell the truth about what had happened here to save Harold's legacy, which is also fine. But now we're coming to the big moment. Well, I mean, I guess one of the big moments. The biggest moment, I guess, for hype, and it's Shanks just goes right after Harold with Scopper. They, like, blitz him with the swords. And as I expected, it is just one single panel. But at least we're seeing it. I mean, I'm sure Toei will make a feast out of this once we see it in the anime in about 4 years. But he goes down after this. This is a pretty powerful Harold. I mean, Harold is already probably Yonko level. I mean, I don't know if he is right now in time. I mean, I guess he has to be. People don't really regress too much in power as they get older in One Piece. But still, he's getting buffed by the Deep Sea Covenant. So yeah, Shanks pretty powerful here. And Scopper, we already saw how powerful he is. Even currently in the story, he just low dipped Summer, so he's a beast. And Harold is going down, but he gets up because, you know, he has the Holy Knight immortality. And Shanks is like, darn it. Is there really no way to stop him from having to follow these orders? So Shanks is getting protected here. I think Shanks might be the most protected character in the series because Oda loves him. Oda thinks that he himself is Shanks. Like, Oda's self-inserts into the series are like Sanji and Shanks. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Shanks get beaten here. I think this, as far as the fight's gonna go, pretty much, Shanks just gets his shots in, and then I guess Loki's gonna come to save the day, because speaking of Loki, at the end of the chapter, he breaks into the treasure room. He's about to eat the legendary devil fruit, but Ragnir, the Mjolnir equivalent of One Piece, is right next to the chest, and it starts moving on its own, and it, like, flies at Loki, and it, like, almost hits him. And I think it's making noises. I mean, in the spoilers yesterday, it made it seem like it was, like, straight up speaking or laughing or something, like giga giga giga. But now it seems like it's just grick grick grick, which maybe that's its voice. And Loki's like, ah, what is this thing? So Ragnir can move just the way that Mjolnir does, although I don't think it's literally the same. There's definitely some plausible in-world explanation as to how this could be happening. I don't think it's just magic for the sake of it being magic. So either Ragnir has eaten a devil fruit. You know, we saw Shamrock, his sword ate the Cerberus fruit, so now it's like a Cerberus Zoan. So maybe something's going on like that, because also when Loki uses Ragnir, it can, like, summon lightning. So that's indicative of a devil fruit usually, but maybe it's not. I also speculated that Ragnir could be tied to some, like, ancient satellite from the Void Century or something that's orbiting around Earth, and then it summons lightning from that. Maybe just based off of the mural in Elbaf. I could be wrong about that, just having some fun. But if Ragnir hasn't eaten a devil fruit, then it's possible that it's a homie, because Nash, I forgot his name before, but Nash, one of the new giant warrior pirates. His shield is a homie, which is like a leftover homie from when Big Mom was in Elbaf years ago. So like, did the same thing happen to Ragnar? Like Ragnar is a homie as well, you know, from like her soul fruit, like giving it a soul, and now it has like its own personality and it can move and stuff. It still remains to be seen. Like, I don't see a mouth on it or anything, or like a face. It's also possible that Ragnar is tied to the legendary devil fruit, because earlier in this chapter, once Harold like becomes evil, he says, I need to eat the fruit and take up Ragnar. So it's like, can Ragnar only be used with the fruit? So it's still up in the air as to what's going on with Ragnar. But what eventually happens here is that Loki eats the devil fruit, whatever it is. I guess it makes him strong enough to be able to defeat Harold, because he does kill Harold. Harold dies, which is crazy that Loki becomes that strong. And then he like tames Ragnar in some way, because he has it to this day. And it also makes you wonder, like, wow, Shanks is really powerful, because if Loki is strong enough to defeat Harold at this point with his Holy Knight power up, and Shanks goes on to defeat him like 7 years or 8 years after this or something. So pretty crazy stuff. But let me know what you think in the comments, what's going on with Ragnar. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.